So it's been a day since Apple announced the new iPhone 13, and a lot of people have a lot of opinions about it. But if you are going to be buying it, a big question that you might be asking yourself is, should you go with the iPhone 13, the regular version, or the 13 Pro or Pro Max version? I figured to help you guys out, what I'm going to do is make a video talking about the big key differences between the 13 Pro version and the regular iPhone 13 version. Before I do get into the video, I'm going to kindly ask you guys to hit the subscribe button if you find this video useful. Let's get into it. Let's start with the price. The regular iPhone 13 comes in two variations, which is the iPhone 13 mini and the regular standard iPhone 13. The iPhone mini comes in at $699, whereas the regular standard version comes in at $799. I'm going to be focusing on the regular version for comparison because I feel like if you're choosing between the regular iPhone 13 and the iPhone 13 Pro lineup, you're not going to be really looking at iPhone mini. The standard iPhone 13 starts at $799 for the base model, and that ranges up to $1,099 for the 512 gig version. On the Pro lineup, the base model Pro comes in at $999 and ranges up to $1,499, while the Pro Max version comes in at $1,099 and goes all the way up to $1,599. Now, if you're looking at the two Pro versions and deciding between those ones and you're thinking about price, then something I should point out is that the difference between both of them in terms of price is $99. For $99, you're going to get a bigger screen coming in at 6.7 inches versus 6.1 inches on the regular iPhone 13 Pro, and you also get a better battery life. Apple says that it's the best battery life that they've put in the phone so far. So I'd suggest that if you're choosing between those devices, spend the extra $99. You're going to thank me later for the extra real estate and the extra battery life. If you're somebody that is on a budget, then the regular iPhone 13 should definitely suit your needs. If you have a little bit more money to spend, you're a baller, then you might want to look at the Pro versions and spend a little bit of extra money for the little bit of extra features that you're going to get. Let's talk about the spec differences between the two. The iPhone 13, the regular version comes in with a 6.1 inch display, whereas the Pro version comes in at 6.1 inches as well. But on the Pro lineup, you get the Max version that has a 6.7 inch display, which is bigger and better for watching content, looking at photos, perhaps you're doing editing on the phone, so you might want to look at and grab a bigger display. Speaking of the display, you're gonna get something that a lot of people have been begging Apple to do for the last 2 years, and that would be a 120 hertz display in the form of ProMotion. And if you don't know what ProMotion is, essentially it just means that the screen will have a faster refresh rate, meaning that it's a bit smoother. It's gonna react to your movements as soon as possible. So it's good for people that do a lot of drawing on their phone if you do that kind of stuff. But also just overall, generally interacting with your phone is just a whole lot smoother. And that's something that you get on the Pro version, but not the iPhone 13 regular standard version. Still on the topic of displays, the iPhone 13 display supports up to 800 nits brightness, which is pretty bright. But on the 13 Pro versions, then you're gonna see 1000 nits brightness with a peak brightness setting of 1200 nits. They both have 5G capabilities, which is important for anybody that lives in a place that supports 5G. They both feature the A15 chip if you get the standard iPhone 13 or go with any of the Pros. Something that I should mention is you'd probably think that they're both the same because they're the A15, right? Wrong. The A15 on the Pro is slightly different because the GPU is slightly increased. On the Pro version, you get an A15 with a 5-core GPU, but on the standard version, you're gonna get a 4-core GPU with the A15. Now, to be honest, nobody's gonna notice the difference. A lot of people will not. Of course, you're gonna see a lot of tests coming soon. Generally speaking, even if you compare it to the iPhone 12, I don't think that's gonna be a crazy big spec bump, but since they are different, I thought I'd let you know in the video. If you're somebody that really wants battery life, a phone that's gonna last you all day, then you're gonna want to go with the Pro because the Pro versions support up to 28 hours of video playbacks. That's like a day and 4 hours of Netflix if you wanted to go with on the Pro Max version versus a 19-hour video playback on the regular iPhone 13. Again, if you're somebody that loves battery life and having like extra battery to your phone, if you're somebody that's out all day and not really around a plug, then you're gonna want to go with the Pro Max versions, especially if you care about battery life. The iPhone 13 maxes out at 512 gigs, whereas the iPhone 13 Pro versions support up to 1 terabyte of storage. That is more space than my iPad and my MacBook put together. So that's a lot of space for all of your selfies. If you're somebody that takes a lot of selfies, a lot of videos of your children or whatever, then you're gonna want to get a higher version, and that is only available on the iPhone 13. Now, if we're talking about aesthetics, there isn't that many differences between the regular iPhone 13 and the Pro versions, but there are two main differences in terms of design. Of course, as I mentioned a bunch of times, the screen is bigger, but the body of the iPhone is a bit different depending on which version you get. The iPhone 13 Pro features a matte finish on the body of the iPhone, whereas on the iPhone 13, the regular version, you're gonna get a glossy finish. Now, personally, I prefer the glossy finish, just the way it looks. Also, on the sides of the phone, that is where you're gonna see another difference, because the Pro versions have a stainless steel band around the side of the phone, whereas on the regular iPhone 13, you're gonna get the aluminum. So something that you might not care about, but Apple cares a whole lot about, was definitely the camera. Before I talk about the cameras, I do think I should point out that the cinematic mode that Apple focused on, the feature that allows you to rack focus and change subjects post-production, that is available on both phone. So you can get that on the iPhone 13, the regular version, and the 13 Pro version. That's where the major similarities end, because you get two major features on the iPhone 13 Pro that you don't get with the base version. First one is that it shoots in ProRes. If you're somebody that works in filming and a lot of film production, you're gonna know what ProRes is. It is basically the format that a lot of people in video production use. Also, another big feature, and I think one that might be even more important, is that the iPhone 13 Pro comes with a telephoto lens. On the phone, you're gonna get a telephoto lens, a wide angle lens, and an ultra wide angle lens. Now, I'm not a botanist by any means, so I don't really care about taking photos of plants, but the fact that it can do this and zoom in, take macro shots without needing extra equipment, that is something that is pretty solid, and I gotta give it to the 13 Pro Max for having that feature. On the standard iPhone 13, you do get a wide angle and an ultra wide angle. The ones on the 13 Pro versions work a little bit better in the nighttime compared to the previous version. Okay, so let's talk about who should buy what. If you're somebody that doesn't really need the extra features specifically with the camera, then there's no point of buying the Pro Max. You can get away with the iPhone 13, the regular standard edition, because the cinema mode is still there and a lot of the other features that make it a phone are still there. The chip is slightly slower, but you're not really gonna notice a difference. And I do think that this is the phone that the majority of people will flock to. Now, if you're somebody that creates a lot of content, you're definitely gonna want to go with the Pro Max version. So let me know what version you're going with if you're buying the iPhone 13. Do you really care about those extra camera features? Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. I got a lot of iPhone 13 content and iPad content coming up. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Peace.